popcorn or not. So, actually, we got the popcorn now. What am I talking about? Let's go.
Dina and Fred coming in here, 1970. I'm not sure if that's when they were born or just a year that they love. But
all right.
Maybe they're a musical act called Dina and Fred 1970. You're gonna find out
Let's
now.
find out. Let's find out. Hi, Dina and Fred. How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
Good. Where are you calling from?
We are in Ledgewood, New Jersey, which is Morris County.
Oh, all right. Know the area. Okay. So, and what's with the 1970s? Is that part of what you're going to get into while you're calling, or?
Well, obviously you don't remember us from a few nights ago at the Stress Factory.
I can't see my screen. I'm really going by voice. All I can tell is you have black hair. And oh, okay. How are you?
We are excellent, thank you. How are you?
Good. Now I see clearly. What show is it that you guys are at?
We went Saturday, the first show, 7 p.m.
Oh, all right, cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, the second set went well too. I had a great time all week at that club. The shows on Friday were, as they would say, intimate, comparatively speaking, to Saturday. I don't know, Fred, if I could keep doing this with a cat walking around behind you. I don't know. I'm not into cats. Yeah. Let me ask you something. Where's your kitty litter box?
In the washroom, laundry room near the garage.
Right. Now, it's gross, right?
Disgusting. Absolutely.
It's basically you got to sacrifice a room for this goddamn thing. Now, my question is, why can't you put it outside?
So our cats are only indoors. They don't go outside at all.
What would happen if you opened the door? Would it go out?
Yeah, that actually happened about 8 years ago, and we couldn't find him for 3 hours. So,
well, read the room then. These things want to get out there and go. I get so blown away by the whole cat thing. It's like, there's no reason they should be using kitty litter boxes. If they're smart enough to know to shit in the box, they're smart enough to just shit outside like a dog. Cats, they don't look at it, it's running around. It don't even come near you. My dog would be on your lap if it was at your house. Your cat is looking back and forth, wondering when is Dina and Fred gonna get the fuck out of here so we can have the place to ourselves. And there's no protection, right? Like if someone came in and started to stab you, God forbid, Fred, right, in your sleep, okay, your cat would rub up against the leg of the guy stabbing you. That's how much they don't care. It's like, so I just don't get what you get out of it. And then on top of that, you probably say you love these things, but how could you love something and then not let it out? And then when you do let it out, you can't find it because it's so ecstatic to be free, to be not a hostage anymore, like those girls in Cleveland that time. I don't even understand.
I can't even argue one point. You mean,
but did you feel guilty when you would let your cat out? In your opinion, did it feel like your cat was enjoying it?
He was petrified. No, he was petrified. Yeah. He was hiding all the way back underneath a porch, so he wouldn't have known the wild out there in Jersey.
So, but do you think you said if you opened it again, you would think you would do it again?
I think it's a possibility. Listen, he's 16 years old now. He can barely hear.
Listen, I never had a deep dive with someone who owns a cat before. I was just getting into it. Fred, I don't know. Do you even talk?
Just listening to your wise wisdom, sir.
All right. Well, listen, you said you were going to call me about something, wasn't it? Was something specific, or did you just say you were going to call in?
Oh, no. We did actually have a question. We read all the rules. We are prepared. So our question is, because your stand-up and the podcast are based on, your everyday life experiences, there's a cat behind you. How do you determine what you hear in everyday life, what you're going to say for your stand-up, and what you're going to do on the cast?
That's a great question. How many cats are we talking about, by the way? Because that is not the same color as the last one that walked by Fred's head.
Count's currently at 3.
Counts currently at 3, but you make it sound like there's a chance one might get knocked up any day now. When I was a kid, my 2 best friends, they were twins. One of them still my buddy. But when we were kids, they had a bunch of cats. At one point, they had like 9, and when you'd sleep over, at one point they'd be walking on you. But when cats would have babies, this is like in the late 70s, early 80s, they would have to take the kittens, and they'd call me, and I'd go with them. Like, my dad's gonna drop us off at the Rickles Mall, and this is on Long Island, and we'd take a shopping cart, and we put the kittens in a box, and they put all these little clothes and rags in there for the kittens, and we'd say free kittens. And we'd wheel them around, and there was a security guard that would always like challenge us, like, get the hell out of here with those. And like their dad, God rest his soul, was a big fat guy. And one time, one lady went to grab one of the kittens, and she's like, oh, isn't he a cutie? And as she was holding it up, its claw caught the end of the dad's Fruity de Loom, like the white underwear. And it was just a giant underwear, and it was stained. And I'll never forget, she was shaking the cat. She was shaking the cat's paw, going, "Oh, we don't need that on there. We don't need." And my buddies are like, "Jesus Christ! I can't believe I know a man who wears underwear that big." So it was a whole funny thing. But I remember we would like stay there all day, and we would give them away. People would take them things, man. So, but to your question, I'll make it brief. There really is no more difference. But a long time ago, when we were first doing the show, maybe we're like 2 years into it, I'm out in LA, and I go visit Sebastian. We go to the Comedy Store, and he goes on stage, and he starts doing a couple of bits, not fully finished, but of things he said on the cast. Not anything I said. He's not stealing from me or anything, but stuff he said on the cast. So I'll never forget, he comes off, and I go, bro, you talk about stuff on stage that you mentioned on the cast, or that you may have came over on the cast? And he looks at me, and he goes, yeah. You don't? And I'm like, why don't I? I mean, it's like the most ridiculous thing. But I will say, most of Sebastian, if not all of his audience and fans, was like before the cast anyway, right? Or even as the cast started to happen, he was blowing up in stand-up. For me, I had a lot of people who started to discover me through the cast. So when I would go out, and if he went out and talk about something on the cast, most of those people never heard it because they weren't even listening to the cast. When I had rooms filled, it was because they listened to the cast. So when I would do it, they're like, I've heard this. But I'm surprised how many people, they like to see something from the cast brought to stage and see it crafted into a bit because they feel like a part of it's really cool.
Yeah, it expands, absolutely.
And it's funny now because I've been going back trying to fish out old bits from the show and things I've said, and things happen so fast, and I don't think twice about it really. And then I go back and I listen, and not to sound like some conceited, but even some of the things I say, I'm like, holy shit, that was funny. I didn't know I said that, And I'm like, I should say that on stage.
Right, right. Makes sense.
Anyway, but listen, you guys, I remember chat with you guys, and I remember you guys having nice things to say about the show, and I really had a great time Saturday night. So thanks for coming, and thanks for being a part of this. And everything we do. I really appreciate it. And Fred, is it Fred or Frederick? Because my dad was Ferdinand, but we called him Fred.
It's ironic because my grandfather's name was Ferdinand, and he wanted to name my dad Ferdinand. Mom said no. He became Frederick, and I became Frederick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because technically I should be a Ferdinand as well, but my mom kind of dropped that trait because she's all Irish. She's like, I don't give a shit about your guinea fucking traits. I'm not going with Peter. All right, God bless you too. You take care. Have a good night, all right?
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, Freddie. Appreciate it, my man. Oh boy, Ken, did I say God bless? What? I'm getting way too nice.